Today is 420, so it's also a great occasion to make a nice party. And the topic of the day is the terpene. First of all, what is cannabis? It's a plant with more than 400 compounds. The only one which makes you high is THC. The other compound in cannabis, so you have the cannabinoids, THC, CBD, more than 140 cannabinoids. And you have mostly also the terpene and the flavonoids. That's the compound you can find in the cannabis plant. So the terpenes, that's what we're going to talk about more details tonight. We're going to taste it as well. The terpenes is a compound which give the flavor and the smell of a cannabis plant. What is funny in this compound is terpene is actually a compound you can find in many different plants. And the terpenes are the main constituent of essential oil. So here it's like a diffuser of essential oil. That's that terpene you have inside. But actually, terpene, it's a compound. So here you have different type of terpene that you can find in plants and on cannabis strains. So the terpenes are the link between all these plants that you can find everywhere and some very specific cannabis strains. So for example, limonelle will give a citrus and orange flavor. And you can find this obviously in lemon and in rosemary. And you can also find limonelle in super lemon haze. So you have 100 of terpenes, which can become from plants or from strain. And that's what I'm going to talk in more details tonight. So what's the origin of terpenes? When you have terpenes into a product, it can come from 3 different sources. It can come from a synthetic version of the terpene. It can come from organic plants. And it can come from directly the cannabis plant. So 3 types of terpene. What is a cannabis derivative terpene? So it's a terpene coming from cannabis. And how you get them from cannabis? You get the flower, and then you do either an extraction with a CO2 supercritic machines, which is like a big machine used to extract different compounds from plants with CO2 and high pressure. You have another technique called the steam distillation, which will use a vape to get the terpene. And then you have the hydrodistillation, when you literally put the bud on water and you use water for distillation. There's something very important to remember when you talk about terpenes and when you talk about products containing terpenes. It's how much exactly terpenes you have in your product. Because in a full spectrum terpene profile, so when you are going to try to get all the terpene which is contained in a plant or in a strain of cannabis, you have 100 of compounds. However, more and more people are just using partial spectrum terpene profile, where actually you just select 4 or 5 terpenes, the most important ones. So you can keep the flavors, but the flavors won't be as deep as the full spectrum terpene profile. Obviously, the partial spectrum terpene profile is easier to make and is cheaper, but that's not the best stuff available. This is the products we do at Harmony. So it's some e-liquid for electronic cigarettes that we sell in 10 milliliters bottle. And what we do to make this type of product, we use actually the terpene derivative from some cannabis strain, like the OJ Kush, the Super Lemonade, and the Mango Kush. And we can recreate, thanks to the terpene, the original flavor in an e-liquid. In this e-liquid, you have also some CBD, but you don't have THC. So it doesn't get you high, get you relaxed, you have a good flavor. Why we use full spectrum, and we've been working very hard to make sure we have more than 25 terpenes in each of these bottles, so we can create the best taste possible. It's very deep, and also we can have the full potential of the terpenes. Terpenes, as used, for example, in essential oil, people will use it in a diffuser and say, I feel more relaxed. There is a lot of studies about the effect of the terpenes. However, we're still studying the real impact, so it's difficult to make any specific claim on what terpene can do or cannot do. That's why I don't talk about it in this presentation, but we are working and researching to be able to explain what type of effect you can get with what type of terpene. So it's a work in progress. Some people also will use terpene to make some cannabis alcohol. So that's some products more and more available on the market. For example, here, cannabis wine. What do? It doesn't get you high, can get you drunk, and there is a nice taste originated from the terpene. So actually tonight we have some cannabis-based alcohol with some terpene. So if you want to taste different type of terpene from the OJ Kush, from the Super Lemonade, from the Mango Kush alcohol cocktails, you can try it. It's on the table there, and it tastes pretty good. You can also make some lollipops. Actually, we have some lollipops tasting hemp. I'm not sure we have them available. Do you still have some in the stock? Let's get them for the party, and let's get you started, guys. With some great cannabis lollipops. So again, you don't get high, but you have a very nice flavor coming from the terpene. It was a short presentation. I don't want to bother you too long with some technical info, but you know it's always good to get educated and smarter before to get drunk or high. So that was the goal of this presentation. Now you can enjoy some great food, some great cocktail, some great music. Thank you to the DJs. Thank you to the amazing Harmony team for organizing all this event. And thank you for everyone for coming to this place. We love you and enjoy the night. Thank you, guys.